Alright, Shalom. I like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakad Kadesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Ekalio, and I'm a prophet sent by Yahweh Shemishai to let you all know about the things that are to come. The prophecies, the judgments, and the mercies of the Lord. And everything that is written in the book, man. And we are in fact in the last days. The last days of the rulership of the so-called white man, who are the biblical Edomites, whose forefather is Esau. And the scriptures say that they are the wicked. So the wicked are in rulership right now, and their kingdom is coming to an end. And signs of the kingdom, or their kingdom coming to an end, is the manifestation of the prophecies, which we're seeing right now, build up day by day. The scriptures say in 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before, so we are to measure the times. We measure the times by way of Bible prophecy. We look at what's going on and we relate it to the scriptures. Because the scriptures said that we will see certain things at the end of days, at the end of the rulership of the Edomites. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So Yahweh Shemishai is going to be visiting the world. And these are the days right now. One of the things that we've been seeing frequently, more so than ever before in this lifetime, are the chariots of Yahweh Shemishai, which the angels, they're the vehicles in which the angels travel in. They are showing themselves at a very high level in these last days, and the people of this world from the four corners of the earth on every continent are video recording them and taking pictures of them. They're making themselves be shown. And this is a frightful thing unto the so-called white man, because it is a sign that his kingdom is coming to an end. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, so we're seeing these things, earthquakes and uproars of the people around the world. The earthquakes happen very frequently, so frequently that people around the world are very accustomed to earthquakes happening. But little do they know that the earthquakes are a sign of the end of Esau's kingdom. And the end of Esau's kingdom brings about the beginning of our kingdom, the kingdom of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that will be headed by Yahushai, and uproars of the people in the world. So the people are in an uproar, and that's all around the world. Once again, to the four corners of the earth, the people of this world are in mourning. They're sad, they're depressed, they're unhappy, and they're unhappy with their rulers, and their rulers are controlled by the elite of the Edomites. Every single kingdom has a ruling class, and the Edomites too have their ruling class, who are the banking elite. And so they're called the wicked elite of Esau Edom. And in Job chapter 9, verse 24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And so the wicked are the Edomites, or these so-called white people. And because of their rulership, the people are mourning. As the scriptures say in Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, who are the righteous, the Israelites, the people rejoice. So the righteous are not in authority. No matter what it is, the deception that is out there, that you have the people that are in the land of Israel today, the Israelis are claiming that they're the Lord's holy chosen people, but they're not. They're not the righteous, they are the wicked. They are Edomites. The people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So the wicked are bearing rule, and that's why they are mourning. That's why they're constantly going out there, and there are all kinds of protests that have been going on continuously for the past few years especially. It has ramped up. These are signs of the end. So 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3 says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So everything that is happening right now was already set in motion from the very beginning. The blueprint was laid out, and now we're living through that blueprint. The beginning was already sorted out, and the end has already been sorted out as well. The prophets, such as the prophet Esdras, saw it. The end of this kingdom. And so we shall be seeing it too as well, man, in these last days. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, the end of the world, which is talking about not the end of the physical world that we're all standing on right now, that we're inhabiting. It's talking about the end of the world, referring to the end of an age, which is the end of the age of the rulership of the Edomites, who are the so-called white people. It is the end of their kingdom that we're going to be seeing these signs, and we're clearly seeing them. Every single day that passes by, we inch closer towards the kingdom of Yahweh Shemishai. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings in effects and signs. So we're going to be seeing all kinds of things happen in these last days. All kinds of things that we've never seen before in this lifetime. All kinds of things that will be reported as unprecedented. All these things, man. And we're going to see the manifestation of the prophecies come to pass. And some of these prophecies are the mark of the beast prophecy, which is the market chip, which is the main prophecy to have your eyes on right now. You have the prophecy of World War III, which that is building up right now. And you have the prophecy of the destruction of America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great. You have the ICBM missiles, which are part of Bible prophecy, which will be used to destroy America. And you have America's allies turning against her and destroying her, aiding in her destruction. Because America is going to be destroyed by her enemies as well as her allies. And that is literally building up right now. in this current day, we're living in the midst of Bible prophecy. You have other prophecy to come, such as the famine of the word prophecy, where you will no longer be able to hear these words anymore. This information will be taken away, and the prophets will no longer be able to prophesy, which then also leads me to talking about the prophecy of the persecution of the prophets and the persecution of the elect, those who believe in Yahweh Shemishai. And of course, as well, the deliverance of the elect of the nation of Israel, as only the Israelites can be saved, and even of the Israelites, only a remnant shall be saved, which is the elect of the nation of Israel, from the coming judgment and coming destruction. And speaking of judgment, before the final destruction by way of thermonuclear fire, Jacob's trouble is another part of Bible prophecy, which is a time like never before upon us, the nation of Israel. So we're in some very, very heavy times. As the scriptures say, that we're to measure the time diligently, and that we'll be seeing certain signs, etc. In the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1, it says, "This know also, that in the last days of what? The rulership of the so-called white man, the Edomites. The last days of their kingdom, perilous times shall come." Perilous times shall come indeed. And then it says, "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy." So in the last days we will see perilous times, and of these perilous times we will see such additional signs. And this is the behavior of the people of the world. They are lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good, traitors, heedy, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh Shemishai. So this is the nature of our people, starting with, and the rest of the world. The heathen have taken on to these ways as well. Why? Because the wicked are in rulership. And so, since the wicked, who are these so-called white people, are in rulership, they push their vile and wicked ways. They are the opposite of righteousness. They do not establish the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemishai, which also is another sign that lets you know that the people who claim that they're the Lord's holy chosen people in the land of Israel today are not the Lord's holy chosen people, as they are not righteous, and they have all kinds of vile and abominable acts that are occurring over there in Israel. That's not how things would go about when the children of Israel are delivered from their enemies and put back into our land. So because the wicked are in rulership, the people have taken on to these vile behaviors, and they're fine with it and they're happy with it. And regarding our people, they refuse to repent and turn towards Yahweh Shemishai. So they will have to face the judgments if they do not repent that are set. So Jacob's trouble is coming. And so the scriptures say, in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So you redeem the time. Let me see what redeeming here says. All right. Well, it says redeeming the time because the days are evil. So you measure the time diligently and you can see the times that we're in. Perilous times, the scriptures say, to redeem the times because the days are evil, and we are heading into those evil times, man, because the judgments of Yahweh Shemeshai are upon us. And so it is a fearful thing, the times that are coming. But because of wisdom and mercy from Yahweh Shemeshai, a portion of people, which are the elect of the nation of Israel, will be preserved from the perils that are to come. In 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 1, it says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So this isn't by my own doing. Me being out here is by the will and power of Yahweh Shemeshai. It is the spirit that influences me to be convinced, to believe and have faith, and to do this work, and to come out onto the highways and byways and to prophesy unto you Israelites, and to let the heathen know their judgment as well. And also, it's not just me, it is all of the brothers like-minded who sincerely believe in Yahweh Shemeshai around the four corners of the earth that are doing this, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So the prophecies are faithful and true, which means that they shall come to pass. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So this is referring to all people, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And let not the unbelief of them trouble thee. That's what incredulity means. So the majority of our people will not believe in the words of Yahweh Shemeshai, and will not believe in Yahweh Shemeshai, and because of that they will simply be destroyed. As it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And also remember this, that only an Israelite can be faithful. Mercy and salvation and the promises and the covenants were not given unto the heathen. They were only given unto the children of Israel. So only we can believe in the names of Yahweh Shemeshai, and as thus only we can believe in these prophecies, and only we can believe in the mercies and the salvation. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So these are the judgments that are at hand from Yahweh Shemeshai that are coming. Plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So these are the perilous times that we're heading towards. And these are the evil days that we're heading towards. And so we've measured the time diligently, and we've seen the things that are to come. Measure the times, such as the earthquakes and the uproars of the people. Alright? So we are very much in fact in those days. And current events are showing that. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So the world is wicked, man. And the people are wicked because the rulers are wicked. The wickedness is overflowing right now on this earth. So it is ripe for judgment from Yahweh Shemishai. Alright? So now we know what time we're in. And also, I get it from now. In Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." This right here is Yahushua speaking. So Yahushua is letting us know the things that we will see at the end of Esau's kingdom. So we will see rumors of wars, and we shall hear of rumors of wars. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. So we are in the midst of this prophecy right here. This speech made by Yahushua, that we would hear of wars and rumors of wars, and that nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and that there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So let's observe the times that we're in. Measure the time diligently. The earthquakes are very frequent. As I mentioned earlier, they're a common occurrence. The wars and rumors of wars, that's a common occurrence as well. We're continuously hearing about America going toe-to-toe with Russia and Iran. We've heard about North Korea as well. We know about the situation with Russia and Ukraine. We know about the situation between America and China. And now we're hearing about the situation between America and her allies. And so we're in the midst of Bible prophecy, man. The pestilences are also upon us. You have the situation with the bird flu, which that narrative is constantly building up continuously. They're not letting go of that, but with so many things that are going on right now, people are distracted by all of these things, man. But the bird flu is still there and it's creeping up. And pestilences is a part of the judgment that is coming from Yahweh Shemishai. Let's see what's happening with the bird flu on that front. So we have from the bird flu, from cepi.net. And this is something that has been reported by mainstream media, NBC News, CNN, Fox News. All of them, man, have been warning about this bird flu. But this one says the world should prepare now for a potential H5N1 flu pandemic, experts warn. Which that is the bird flu. I believe it's also called the avian influenza, right? And at this point, some months ago, at the end of 2024, I believe it was, you had California declare a state of emergency over the bird flu. And then you had this quademic situation over there in China at the end of last year, where they were talking about the quademic, which is a mixture of diseases, pestilences. So it says, the rapid spread and mutation of a deadly bird flu virus in the United States warrants urgent global action on pandemic preparedness to close dangerous gaps in the world's ability to develop and deliver new protective. So the word here is the V word. I'm not gonna say it, but you know that V word that they used as a quote-unquote solution for the pandemic in 2020. Remember that came about? Flu and disease outbreak specialists are warning. All right? So that's just the beginning of the article. I'm not going to read it all out. But you have regarding the bird flu, they're talking about, you know, using that V thing upon the cattle and the birds, which means to me they wouldn't be safe for consumption. But also remember that famine is on the way. Reports are continuously coming out that the birds are being affected and infected by the bird flu. And people as well. All right? We've also heard about different diseases coming about, such as the henipavirus in Alabama, the eye bleeding disease, and then there was an Ebola scare like 2 weeks ago. So there are all kinds of pestilences that are ramping up, and pestilence will come because the scriptures say it, man. In Ezekiel chapter 4, Salaki, in Ezekiel chapter 5 and verse 17, it says, "So will I send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, the Lord Yahweh, have spoken it." So the pestilence and also the famine is a part of the judgment, which, by the way, the bird flu situation has brought about an egg crisis that is affecting America, and it's affecting out here in Jamaica as well. There has been a price increase of the eggs because there's simply less eggs available. And this is because of the bird flu situation, which they're also saying that it is affecting the cattle. So, given the current narrative, fully expect that not only eggs will be short, but chicken will be short as well. And then with the cows, the same thing. And then any byproduct of the cow, such as cheese and eggs, all of those kind of things, man. And then in America, you have the trade war that is coming about. So we really are in very sorrowful times. But also I want to read in Ezekiel chapter 5 and verse 17. So will I send upon you famine. No, Salakia, not there. Ezekiel 7 and verse 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence, and the famine. Within, he that is in the city, he that is in the field, shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So famine and pestilence is coming, man. And when you look at current events, it's clear to see. I mentioned the trade war situation, which the trade war situation is going to contribute to the collapse of the American economy, which is going to bring about famine as well. Because in America, the price of things are going to be increasing right now due to the trade war between America and Canada, America and China, and America and Mexico, which those three countries are the three largest traders with America: China, Canada, and Mexico. So expect increases of prices, which is going to affect your livelihood. So remember this in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." So we're going to be seeing these things. Then Yahushua says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So when we see these things and we're experiencing these things, these are only the beginning of sorrows. You see? So can you imagine the days that we're heading into? It is not a light thing when the scriptures say that the days are evil or that we're in perilous times. These are not positive words. These are negative words. And so terrible times are coming. But right now we're in the midst of this part right here, heading into, and it says these are the beginning of sorrows. So chaos is coming on to the world at this point, man. And now we have this trade war situation, which is going to bring about more sorrows upon the world, the people of America. Because remember this as well. America's at the top, and when America's affected, other countries are affected as well. Like Jamaica. So it says, Trump's trade policy sparks worries over food prices. That was from Transport Topics. You have from CBS News, Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China are in effect. Here's what could get pricier and when. So, one of the situations due to the tariff situation is that it says, from CBS News, American consumers could soon face higher costs for a range of consumer products after President Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China went into effect on Tuesday. The 25% tax on imports from Canada and Mexico plus an additional 10% tax on imports from China will drive up the cost of an array of consumer goods, from groceries to automobiles, and could cause more financial strain for inflationary consumers, experts say. So you see, famine is a part of Bible prophecy, but there's going to be a build-up heading towards that famine. And there's no new thing under the sun. What happened in ancient Egypt when we were in captivity there is the same thing that is happening in modern day Egypt. And America in the scriptures is referred to as spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Right? So in ancient Egypt, what happened? Let's get the account of it. So, with the trade war, we're going to be seeing people able to purchase less things, which are going to put them in a hellish state. And you have some people already, I've watched it on the news, it's been reported, people are already saying that they can't even afford food like that right now. And of course, you know, the people they presented were us, you know, so-called Negroes they presented. But it's only going to get worse. And so from food price increases to also the bird flu situation where you have animals being affected by pestilences, you can see where this is going towards the famine. And so you can also see that famine can be brought about in different ways. Okay? We're seeing a shortage of the food supply. But in Genesis chapter 47 and verse 15, it says, not 15, but verse 13, it says, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. So we experienced famine, right? And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Okay? So a famine occurred, and Joseph had to gather up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, right? And that is what's going to be happening to our people, man. The money is going to get tight. And you're going to have to be even more conscious as to what you can purchase. And this trade war with the increase of prices will cause that. It's already affecting people. And regarding our people, because we're at the beginning stages, this is what is going to happen soon. And it's already happening to some people. Ezekiel 4 and verse 16, moreover he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, which means that Yahweh Shemishai is going to be affecting the food supply. And they shall eat bread by weight and with care, which means that you'll be very careful with how you're spending your money and what you're purchasing. And they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, right? So everything is going to be measured out, man. Food and water. And as I said, it's already happening to some people. You know, one of the people said, one of the women, I believe she said something like, right now she can only afford to feed her children, that she doesn't really get much to eat, you know, something like that. And that's a reality for people, and that's going to be a reality for many people, and also the majority of the people in the days to come. Okay, so going back to the article, it says the 25% tax on imports from Canada and Mexico, plus an additional 10% tax on imports from China, will drive up the cost of an array of consumer goods, from groceries to automobiles, and could cause more financial strain for inflation-wary consumers, experts say. Nobody's getting paid more. Prices are just continuously increasing and increasing, and nobody's getting paid more. So your lifestyle is being reduced, and it can happen very dramatically and very drastically in a very short amount of time. And also, a reduction of goods creates scarcity, but there's going to be a demand for it. So when there's a high demand but low supply, what happens? Scarcity causes the item of things to increase. So it's not only because of the import situation that this can occur, but just by the mere fact of less of an item being available, the prices will also increase more. So this thing can get out of control very quickly. So then it says also, because importers pay the tariffs, such as Walmart, which imports goods from China and other nations, US businesses will shoulder the additional cost, the added cost, which means what? If businesses have to shoulder or pay for the added costs, the businesses themselves will have to offset those losses, and then they are going to increase the prices. So you can see how the domino effect occurs. And then what's going to happen from there? People aren't going to be able to afford it. People will only be able to afford what they can, and then there will be less spending. So it's a whole domino effect, man, leading to the crash of the American economy and the US dollar, which actually going back to Genesis chapter 47 and verse 15, right? Because there's a famine, and then Joseph gathered the money together in verse 14. But in verse 15 it says, and when money failed in the land of Egypt, so the money failed in Egypt. And the same thing is going to happen again. Money is going to fail in modern day Egypt, which is America. So not only will we be experiencing famine and pestilence, etc., but we're going to see the collapse of the US dollar. And that US dollar collapse is all by design. It is all orchestrated by the wicked elite of Esau Edom, because they're bringing about a new payment system, which is the digital payment system, the intelligence age, the fourth industrial revolution, which is going to be by way of the microchip. Everything that is being done by the wicked elite of Esau Edom is to bring about the mark of the beast, which is that microchip. They know that they have to collapse the current monetary and financial system to bring about a new one. And when it is that the old one collapses, they're going to conveniently have a solution for it, which they will also say that they have been telling the world about it for many years, which they have, which is true. They've been putting it in the minds of the people, man, that they need to move towards this new age of life, which is all going to be a way lived by technology. All right, so money is going to fail in Egypt. Money is going to fail in America. We're in those times, man. Going back to the article from CBS News, it says, while some companies may opt to swallow all or part of the expense, so what happens there? if some of the companies decide to take on the expenses, people are going to lose their jobs because it's about the bottom line. And they need a certain amount of money to be able to function, to pay out their employees and stuff like that. And it's all about the bottom line for these businesses, man. So people are going to be losing their jobs. Some of the costs are likely to be passed along to consumers in the form of higher prices, economists say. So there it is. All right, so things that are going to be affected are automobiles, vegetables, fruit, beef, beer, alcohol, potatoes, canola oil, all kinds of things, man. Electronics as well, gasoline, all those things. But then also get this, when it is that the price of certain things increase, people are going to be less willing to purchase them. So then they will try to find alternatives, cheaper alternatives to purchase. But if people start to purchase the cheaper alternatives en masse, that is also going to cause an increase in those prices. So you see how the domino effect just happens all around? Okay, so we're in some very serious times, man. And so, from a scarcity of food, it's going to lead to this. In 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22, it says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." And what are those? The places that store the food. They shall be found empty. Because everything gradually happens. And we're seeing the beginning stages of it, man. "And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid," right? The announcement of that we're in a famine, and even before that, an announcement that the food supply is short. So they're going to have to be taking certain measures. For example, out here in Jamaica during the pandemic in 2020 onwards, they set a rule where, because of what was going on, that depending on the beginning of your last name, you are allowed to go to the grocery store. And that was for a pandemic. So imagine when it is that the food supply is truly shortened. Those kinds of measures are going to come again. They're going to tell you, and it's already happening with the eggs, that you can only buy one of this or two of that per visit. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be like that at first. Then it's going to be where there's simply no food there. And then there will be food conveniently found in certain places, which will be the safe cities or the sanctuaries, which are going to be their smart cities / 15-minute cities, where the food is going to be at. But to be able to access that, you're going to have the microchip. They're going to tell you that you won't be able to eat any food while we're in the midst of the famine unless you have the microchip. That's why the scriptures say in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 17, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." So this is where it's all heading towards, man. This trade war is very intentional. by the wicked elite of Esau Edom. And their economic system has been created where they can pull the lever on it to collapse it. But they have to do it in a very conniving and a very deceptive way, where it's not so obvious to the world. It says, 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 24, at that time shall friends fight, one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand still in fear with those that dwell therein. So remember, we're going to be seeing wars and rumors of wars. We're going to be seeing famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So the famine is going to bring about friends fighting against each other like enemies. So whoever you thought was your good neighbor, whoever you thought was your best friend, whoever you thought was your family, they're going to be fighting against each other, man. Because the famine is going to be so terrible. People are going to go days, weeks without any food. They're going to be out there murdering one another, man. These are the days we're heading into. The very sorrowful days, right? And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Right? Because remember, it's a famine of food and water. So this is all building up, man. And famine is a very terrible judgment. In the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 9, it says, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. So it's better to perish by way of the sword than to perish of famine. For these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. So, the judgment of famine is very severe. It's not to be taken lightly. And then, when you read here in verse 10, the hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. What does sodden mean? It is the word bashal in the Hebrew, Strong's H1310. It says to boil, cook, bake, roast, and ripen. And it sounds very harsh, but these are the days that are coming. Famine is going to lead to cannibalism. So they're going to be, the hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. They're going to cook and bake their own children. They were their meat, which means their food. They were their food. The children were cooked and eaten in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So this is coming again, man. Famine that will bring about cannibalism. And in Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 20, it says, and he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry. And the word snatch here from H1504 is kazar, which is to cut, divide, to destroy. So he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. So this is how terrible it's going to be, man. That's why Yahushua says, the famine, the beginning of sorrows. It's going to be terrible. These are the days that are called Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 4. Jeremiah 30 and verse 4. And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So it's a very fearful time that we're heading into, man. And we're at the beginning stages. It's not a play around thing. It's not a thing or a situation where the prophets of Yahweh Shemishai are just speaking and nothing is going to happen. The scriptures say that the words of the Lord shall not go out void. And I read earlier that it says that they shall be written in paper for their faithful and true. So all of these things are coming, man. And it's a warning from Yahweh Shemishai. It is not for fun. You know what I'm saying? It is because severe and terrible judgment is coming upon the world and upon our people, man, from Yahweh Shemishai. The message is to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So it's a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. And the he is referring to is the elect of the nation of Israel, those that believe. But for our people that don't believe, severe judgment is coming. So you need to repent and turn from your vile, abominable ways and to look towards our power, Yahweh Shemishai, because that is the only way to be able to get through these days that are coming. In 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14 it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And it says, woe to the world. What's a woe? Destruction. Chaos. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So we're heading into this time within the world where people are going to be fighting one against another. And why is that? Because of the terrible times that we're heading into. The famine, the pestilences, the lawlessness, the loss of jobs and loved ones. People are going to be losing their mind and they're going to be going crazy. And when it is that people feel that they have nothing to lose, they're going to go buck wild out there. And they'll do whatever it is that they want to do. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's a sedition among men. So the times are going to be so terrible that people will no longer listen to those that are in authority. The police, the mayors, the governments, the presidents, the prime ministers, the people aren't going to care. It's going to be like the time of the movie World War Z, I believe. That's the movie. I think it was Brad Pitt that I saw, where things got so crazy that people were ransacking and destroying the grocery stores and picking up whatever they can. Everyone. Even the officers in the movie, they were going in there and picking up whatever they could pick up too. And why is that? Because the time will be so terrible. They're going to have to be for themselves. It's going to be every man for himself. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So martial law is going to be coming. And we know that there is a military type of martial law, but there's also a medical martial law that can be instituted or that can be put in place. And we already saw what they're willing to do based on the 2020 worldwide pandemic, where they had lockdowns and stuff like that. And they were already saying that unless you have the juice, the solution that they presented for the pandemic, then you weren't allowed to go to certain places. And you weren't allowed certain jobs and stuff like that. They're all building up this kind of scenario and this kind of chaos to usher in the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. They can also declare martial law due to the famine. For because of their pride, Salakio, it says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You see? So the lack of bread, that famine, and for great tribulation. Great tribulation, man. The days of Jacob's trouble. So some people are going to be starving, and they're going to be like, they're at a point where they have no choice. So they're going to be going to their neighbors or going to other people's homes, and they're going to be ransacking them. They're going to have weapons and such. And then when you look at the world and how the social situation, the social status of individuals are, you have the upper class, the middle class, well, not really anymore, the middle class, but you have the lower class as well. So who do you think is going to be affected by the food shortages and then the famine first? Obviously people that are poor, who are already feeling the situation where some of them can't even feed their entire families right now. So they're going to be affected first. And then what's going to happen? Because of the situation they're in, you're going to have the others that can afford it. They are going to target them and destroy them for food and water. These are the days that we're heading towards, man. Very terrible times. Very, very terrible times. And so when Yahushua said that we'll see famine, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places, rumors of wars, nation rises against kingdom, etc. And these are the beginning of sorrows indeed, because the prophet Ezra saw the time that we're heading into. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And the answer is Yahweh Shemishai. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. You see, Ezra says the same thing as Yahushai. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? The beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. So that's an interesting point that the prophet Esdras made when he said that the power shall stand in fear. And who are the powers? Those in charge. So things are going to get so out of hand that even those in charge are going to be fearful. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And the answer is, once again, believe in Yahweh Shemishai, man. It is our only way to salvation. It is our only way out. There are no contingency measures to be had or anything of the sort, or nothing like that. It is all faith in Yahweh Shemishai that will get us through these times that are coming. Say that by faith you're saved. Let me get that. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not yourselves. It is the gift of Yahweh Shemishai. Right? So faith is a gift given by Yahweh Shemishai, and that faith will lead to our salvation. And it is the elect that will possess that faith. So for those of us now that are doing this work, we are of the hopeful elect. We hope to be saved. We don't know if we're going to be saved, but our hope is that we shall be saved. The scriptures say that we are prisoners of hope. So with that hope and that faith, we also have fear. We have fear in Yahweh Shemishai, man. We fear the Lord. Because we don't know if we're going to make it for sure, man. And so that's a fearful thing. And that keeps us on our toes. And fear is very important to have. Fear is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. So you must have it. So going back to 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So these judgments are sent as scourges for amendment. Some of our people, in order to enter the kingdom, will have to face up these judgments. Those are the wicked of our people and the 2/3 in America. Will have to face these judgments and be born again in the kingdom when Yahushua returns. But for all these things, they shall not return from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So despite the judgments that will be upon the world from Yahweh Shemishai, all people will still remain wicked, and they will call upon their false gods and their false idols to deliver them. But those things are false, they're not true, and they have no power. So there is no deliverance in them. They cannot save you. Right? Yahweh Shemishai even said in the book of Judges, let me get it. In Judges 10 and verse 14 it says, go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. You see? So, all people that don't believe are going to be experiencing the judgments from Yahweh Shemishai. And the Lord is saying, yo, go call upon those gods. But there are no gods. They cannot save. Only Yahweh Shemishai can save. But our people will not turn from their wickedness, so they will have to be judged. Behold, famine and plague, Salakio. Then he says as well, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Which we're in the midst of that right now. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. So many people are going to die of famine. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So you cannot escape the judgment of Yahweh Shemishai, whether it be by pestilence or famine or plague, or by being murdered or whatever the situation is. You cannot escape it. And the death is going to be so extreme, it's going to be happening en masse. The scriptures say, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down. And indeed, that is what shall happen. People are going to be dying so much that there won't be any funerals and people won't have time to mourn their loved ones. Because people will simply just die, but people are also going to be in a state of survival, looking for what they can eat. And then, as gruesome as it sounds, because of the famine, I read before that cannibalism is coming. So people will even eat the dead bodies that perish of famine, so that they don't perish of famine. But the elect won't be taking part in that. The scriptures say that my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. And also the elect members that believe, the men, women, and children that believe, they will be preserved and they will be fed until Yahushua returns, because they have to be delivered. So they too will be fed. Okay? So these days are coming. And so, with what's going on in the world, we have tensions between the world powers. Salakio. So remember, in the Matthew 24, it says that nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And we're seeing that right now. And World War III is a part of Bible prophecy. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14 says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, which is World War III, is the third woe. The second woe is World War II. And now we're seeing literally in real time this building up, because you have President Trump, who is a cruel leader, has been given on to the Egyptians for these Americans, these Edomites, okay? And he is bringing about many situations that are not quite favorable onto the people, and also situations that are making the other countries which already hate them more, but also America's allies turning to hate them. But that's a part of Bible prophecy. So you have some situations that are happening between America and her allies, where firstly America offended her allies in a very serious way, when it is that they refuse to have NATO and the European Union be a part of the talks between Russia and Ukraine. Instead, America excluded them, which offended them. But these European countries, they stand with Ukraine. So now, that was last weekend, and just this past week, things are escalating more, where America's allies are firmly standing with Ukraine, and they are still against Russia, but now they are turning against America. So let's just look at some of the titles. So one of them from NBC News, Trump considering major NATO policy shift. Which Trump is saying, which America is saying, he represents America, that if certain European countries that are part of NATO and the EU do not spend a certain amount of money on their defense budget, that America will no longer go to their defense. And this puts these European countries in a very terrible predicament to be attacked. Because remember, on the other end, you have Russia and Iran and their allies that are quite powerful and have nuclear capabilities. So that is offensive onto these European countries. It says literally, the US might not defend a fellow NATO member that is attacked if the country doesn't meet the defense spending threshold. All right, so that's a threat onto the allies. Then it says, Trump casts doubt on NATO commitments as world leaders reconsider sharing intel with US. So NATO and the EU are talking about, given the current situation, that they no longer want to share certain intelligence with America. So America's feeling some type of way about that. Right? So this is the deterioration of the relationship between America and her allies, which is Bible prophecy. And it's going to lead to America's allies fully turning against her and destroying her. In Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16, it says, and the 10 horns, which is the European Union, which thou sawest upon the beast, which is NATO, these shall hate the whore. The whore is America. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So I want to make this point. When it says that they shall eat her flesh, it means that America's allies, which are NATO and the EU right now, they're going to be doing things to weaken America's position. They're going to do things that weaken her power. And over the years, things like that have happened. You've had France, the UK, and Germany come out and say certain things. And now this thing about these NATO restricting certain intelligence away from America, that's a very serious thing. And then it's going to lead to them breaking, NATO and the EU breaking apart from America. And then at the end of World War III, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. And so they are going to shoot missiles at America, along with Russia and Iran. All of these countries are going to shoot missiles at America, all of them that have nuclear capabilities. So it's going to be America versus the world, excluding the Israelis, the state of Israel, which actually the scriptures say that the state of Israel is going to bring America to war. And America is going to lose World War III, which is going to happen over there in the so-called Middle East, which is really referred to as Western Asia. The scriptures say it, man. In Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45, it says, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he had taken against Babylon, which is America. And his purpose is that he had purpose against the land of the Chaldeans, which are the Edomites. Surely the least of the flock is referring to the Israelis, the Jewish people, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So we already know the judgment. We already know how World War III is going to go. America is going to lose. the scriptures say that the state of Israel, the Israelis, is going to draw America out to war over there in the so-called Middle East. And they're going to lose. So the state of Israel, they're going to be judged. And over there, America's troops and military is going to be judged. And then after that judgment, America is going to receive the ultimate judgment by way of thermonuclear fire. That's what we're at right now. But before that can happen, the mark of the beast prophecy, which is the microchip, has to be fulfilled before the destruction and the salvation can occur. But we're seeing the build-up towards the prophecy of America's allies turning against her. And then you have from the people's voice, Trump considers pulling US troops out of Germany. You see? So they're pulling out their troops away from their allies, which shows you the escalation of the situation. And then you also have German president warns Europe dangerously close to war with the United States. So it's all going very beautifully. It's all going according to Bible prophecy. It is at hand. And I don't foresee it going back, where America's allies all of a sudden are like, okay, everything's fine, everything's great. Looking at the times that we're in, I believe that it will get worse. But ultimately, even if they do reconcile, it will be for a moment, because Bible prophecy states that America's allies are going to turn against her and destroy her. So the relationship has to be destroyed. So that will be continued to be watched. All right? And then, knowing that this kingdom is coming to an end, we know of the other signs spoken about in the book of Mark. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And Esau's kingdom, the kingdom of the so-called white man, is divided against itself. How so? You can see it. America and her allies are now bucking horns against each other. And then America is still bucking horns with Russia. America's NATO and the EU are bucking horns with Russia as well. These Edomite powers are all against each other. So they are divided. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So the house is divided, it cannot stand. Esau's kingdom is coming to an end. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but at an end. So Satan is divided against himself. And the Edomites represent the physical manifestation of the spiritual demon Satan. They are the wicked. Satan works through them. And he can clearly see it. Alright? So the Edomites, who are the so-called white people, are divided against themselves within their own kingdom, and so they have an end, and their end is coming. That's why you see all of these things going on, man. Where famine is on its way, pestilences are brewing, America's allies are turning against her, the major powers are standing up against each other and preparing for war. ICBM missiles have been created. All of these things, man, all leading towards the finale, where first the microchip, which is the mark of the beast prophecy, will be fulfilled. Then the war over there in the so-called Middle East will occur. And then at the end of that, the missiles will be shot at America. Yahushua is going to return at the same time. And Yahushua is going to deliver the elect to the nation of Israel, the 1/3 from America, and the rest of the elect from the four corners of the earth. And then America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, and 2/3 of our people in America will be destroyed. These are the days that we're in, man. Matthew 24 and verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Jacob's trouble. It is out of Jacob's trouble that we're going to be saved from. Daniel 12 and verse 1. And except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So it's going to be happening very quickly. Once that mark of the beast prophecy is fulfilled, it's only a matter of time before Yahushua returns. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that it were possible they shall deceive the very elect. Yahushua is coming for the elect. Okay? I'm going to go down to verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the days of Jacob's trouble, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, which is Yahushua, in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and with great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the end of heaven to the other. So that's what we're waiting on, man. Our salvation, the return of our Lord Yahushua to deliver us from the hand of our enemies and from the hand of destruction. Alright? So with that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakah Kodesh. And once again, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and the brothers that teach this truth, like-minded, that are pushing diligently and sincerely believe. And to the hopeful elect as well, you men, women, and children that sincerely believe that are helped. You know? Shalom unto you as well. Our salvation is close, man. Shalom.